Hello everybody, welcome to this overstuffed house. If you've been following the channel, you know that one of the things I've done lately is to have to go through some boxes of books. And so we are having a drop sale. A drop sale, for those of you who've never been to one before, is basically that I show you the item, I give you the price, and then I'll give you a letter or a number, and you claim that in the comment section. But here's the thing, you should never go back in and edit it. So like if you see something from the very first book that you want and then you put that in and then you get to the end of the video and maybe there's another one you want, you don't go back and edit the first comment, you just go ahead and put it in as a separate comment because they are all time-stamped. And the book will go to the first person who has that timestamp. If it's more than one person that wants a particular book, it goes to the person who got there first. But if you edit your comment, it changes the timestamp to a time that you did the edit, not to the time you did the first thing. Things will be shipped media mail. I use pirate ship, so the shipping shouldn't be too bad. Though I understand they just upped the prices of media mail. There will be a list of the books and what letter they are in the description. In case you miss what letter it is, I will get that done. And let's get started. So we have, for $2, Bertolt Brecht's Three-Penny Opera. This is the libretto, which is all the words and all the lyrics. And that is $2, and that is letter... Whoops. Letter Z for that one. And we have a Charlie Chaplin, which this one is a really nice book to read. But at some point somebody did some math homework inside of it. This is $2. It's letter L. All right. Now that's for those two. Now, these are the $4 books, this stack here. The first is 57 Saints for Boys and Girls. I've read it more than once, St. Paul edition. Those are the initials of the young man who was my best friend growing up, who's now a priest. This is not for the faint-hearted. This gets into some serious detail about their martyrdom. And they were letting kids read it. So this is $4. That is a letter Q. Letter Q. I couldn't find any of my markers. So that's 57 Saints. It's a library edition, but as you can see, it's Mary Martin on the front and all the kids from the Broadway production of The Sound of Music. There is some discoloring from the glue that held this down. This is none of these. I will tell you any of them that were hit by the leak. This is not one of them. It has my name in it. I've had this for years. It still has that in the back. It doesn't have any images from the show. But this is $4 and it's letter A for the Mary Martin cover Sound of Music hardback libretto. Then this one, nondescript as it is, it has some foxing on the paper label on the side, Androcles and the Lion by Bernard Shaw. But it also has Pygmalion, which is the story that was turned into My Fair Lady. And it has one called Overruled, which I have not ever come across in years. Now, what I found interesting is this particular one has the sequel to his story of Pygmalion. It has what happens afterwards, and you do not always find that in print. And so this one is $4. It is letter S. And I've looked, and I haven't found anything else that I owned that had Overruled in it. It's not in bad shape. It's what they call rough cut edges, so they don't 100% flat, which is common for that time. Now this one is by March Cost. It's called The Hour Awaits. There's a little issue right there with the dust jacket. It is a Book of the Month Club one, but it is a wonderful little story, supposedly about Princess Victoria of Babenberg. And she basically is on a secret mission that sparkles with the beauty of a Tiffany window. It's been a long time since I ever read it, but I do remember it being very good, so that's why I kept it. So it basically takes you around some of 1921 London, which was fun. And so The Hour Awaits is $4 and is letter M. Now we have, some of you might be old enough to remember him, Adlai Stevenson, What I Think. Opinions, both inclusive and wise, on the great public questions which confront Americans, selected from speeches and writings since 1952. This has its dust jacket, little wear to the edges of the dust jacket, and it's got some foxing marks. And you can see it on the side too, all those little brown dots. That's foxing. That can happen from the acid in the paper. This is $4. It's letter E for the Adlai Stevenson book. Next is this old one, Old Testament Stories. It is a really nice lithographed cover, and it is by the Plate and Monk Company, 1915. That's, if I'm right with my Roman numerals, 1915. And it is really, really full of images. It's full of pictures. They're all great short stories. And it is $4 and is letter T. I just love the end paper. Look at that. What a gorgeous end paper. But it does have its issues with that dust jacket. Now, this one also has a rip there. I think I've read this one twice. The Civil War, Strange and Fascinating Facts by Burke Davis. And I don't know, did I write my name in this one? I did that for a long while. I didn't in this one. So this one is $4, letter W. Now, if you're into Civil War history, there's two other books coming up. This is The Causes of the Civil War, the revised edition, edited by Kenneth M. Stamp. Now, that does have a mark there because I got this as a discounted book, and it does have the tiniest bit of water damage in the first couple pages on the corner where water had soaked through the cardboard box that it was in. But that's all that's wrong with it. And it covers the causes of the Civil War. That is $4, letter C. Now the last one is William C. Davis wrote The Orphan Brigade. I found this book absolutely fascinating. Now this one also has a little more on the edge, but everything else is in great shape. And it just literally, you can see it's not really going into the pages. It's just on the outer edge. But they were Kentucky Confederates who couldn't go home. And I read this a long, long time ago. But there was a Confederate unit, but I forget why they couldn't go home, but they couldn't really go home because Kentucky had officially, I think, gone to the Union. So this one is $4, letter O. Now these prices are under what I'm finding online because of the condition. Now I decided to cough up this one. Anybody who is interested in old school books, this was mine, God, in elementary school. And then they decommissioned them. It doesn't even say the school I was in. It just says William Penn Elementary. That's not the one I went to. It does have my name in there. But it's Bright Peaks. All these great short stories. All have images in them. Mrs. Pickerel's Big Adventure. Her Great Adventure. And you know, the funny part is I had read that book. I found it about 2 years ago, a copy of it, and read it. And I kept wondering why it was so familiar. Well, because it was in this book. So, Bright Peaks is $4 and is letter U. And you can either read it to the kids or use it for junk journaling, whatever your heart wants to do. Now we go to the $5 books. The $5 books are Castiglione, The Book of the Courtier. Now, he was a courtier, and so he decided to write imaginary conversations between some of the powers that be from 1507. It's in good condition. Again, this was one that was a discounted one. That's why they put the black line on them when they used to sell them as bargain books. Penguin used to clear out their stock. It does have my name in it, 1990. And honestly, that's probably the last time I read it. I only read it once. Found it interesting because, certain things in being a courtier is about being political, not in the politics way we think of it, but in the way of watching your own back. So there is a certain amount of intrigue in it. This is $5 and it's letter B. Now the next one, turns out I have 2 copies of this. So you're getting one of them. The Portable Medieval Reader. Look at that. You can't even tell this one was read. I don't think this one was read. I think this is the extra. And I read the other one. So it's in great shape. It does have my name in the front. And it has it has not only fiction, it has nonfiction of the time. So part of it is history, part of it is fiction, part of it is historical, like Henry VIII, King of England, the Emperor Frederick. Some of these are brief biographies. So it gives you a pretty well-rounded, I always thought the castle part was pretty good. It gives you a really good overview of medieval times without having to slog through half a dozen history books. So the Portable Medieval Reader is $5 and is letter R. $5, letter R. Now this is another one. This one is in excellent shape. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a hardback. It is Emily Dickinson, Collected Poems. The only thing wrong with it is it's got my name and the date I bought it. But it is an absolutely fine book. It's got in it what were 2 of her books that were printed in the 1800s. And this one is from 1991. So it has quite a bit in there. And that is $5, and that is letter X for the Dickinson poems. Now this one is a history book. It is called After Hitler, Jorgen Neven Dumont. It is a report on today's West Germans. However, we know Germany has since unified. So this was an up-to-minute report on how people were living in West Germany. And this is from, it's the first American edition from 1970. And so this one is $5 and is letter D. $5, letter D. Now, this is a Grimm's fairy tale. Wonderful cover. I just love the cover art. And it does run around the side. But there are, come on, focus. What are you doing? Focus. There we go. It does have a list of other things that they printed. But it's such an adorable cover. Now, it has my grandmother's name faintly in the... Why are you not focusing? What are you doing? There we go. So it has her name in. Interestingly enough, that's after she was married to have the Yost last name. This is the only picture in it. Cute little picture. But what was interesting to me with this one, doesn't have a date. Oh, come on, quit that. Come on, focus. Come on, focus. I want to show you something in this one. So, in this one, it has a few stories that I don't usually see. It has the queen bee, has the raven, and it has, the other ones are on the other page. I'm not sure why the camera wants to keep going in and out of focus right now. But it has the straw, the coal, and the bean, which you don't find very often. Why are you giving me trouble on this one, you little bugger? White snake you don't find very often. Come on. Water of Life is another one, and King Thrushbeard. You don't find these in modern versions of Grimm's fairy tales. So that's the beauty of having some of these older ones, is they have different stories in them sometimes. And this is $5, letter N. N for Nancy. So there's that one. Two more. The Making of the African Queen by Katharine Hepburn. I've read this so many times. I love this book. And of course, I've got my name in the corner. It is full of... It is full of images of photos from her personal collection of when they made the film. And it's her story of everything that went on. And it is just wild, some of the stuff that was going on in the background, considering who was in that cast and directing it. And Almost Lost My Mind is absolutely accurate. But it is an absolutely fantastic book. African Queen is one of my favorite movies. It is $5, and it is letter H. $5, letter H, for The Making of the African Queen. And then the last one I have, now this was written in 1936, so it's before the war. It's before all the bombing. Now, it does have some issues. The glue on this is discoloring. At one point, there was a paper clip that rusted and made a mess. And that doesn't have the date. There we go. There we go. London by Sidney Dark with illustrations by Joseph Pennell from 1936. And all these pen and ink sketches that are scattered throughout it. Now that's Fleet Street at St. Dunstan's. I'm not sure all of that survived. Fetter Lane. Lincoln's Inn Gateway. I don't believe that survived the war. The Law Courts. The News Strand. I've seen that. I think that's the one I saw. Villiers Street of Shops is still there and rebuilt. But it's a look at London before the war. Oh, that's the big thing at Trafalgar Square. That's still there. And the Haymarket Theater, that's still there, because I remember seeing that. But some of the images and some of the things he talks about, they just don't exist anymore. So it's a chance to learn something about old London. And it is $5 and is letter K. $5, letter K. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I will get these turned around a little bit so you can see. I will put this up, and the sale, I will put the date the sale ends, because anything that doesn't sell, I'm going to send to the Arden Fair. So I have to have this run from Saturday to Wednesday. So it's a short window of time, because anything I'm taking down to them, I have to take down Thursday night, so they have time to sort it onto the tables by categories and be ready for the fair. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you're new to buying from me, then please email me your name and address and the email you use. I invoice through PayPal. You can find on the About Me, you can find my email address, or just check any of my live sales. It'll be in the bottom corner of the screen. And I look forward to selling some books to you. You guys have a great day. Like and subscribe. And I will hopefully, my plan is to see you all next week on Thursday night. Okay? Have a good time, guys. Oh, and here's something. I went over the next 100 for subscribers. I now have 1,202, I think, the last time I looked. Thank you all. I have suddenly gained like 40 subscribers in the last, not even a month. So bless you all. I am so grateful. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.